Gilbert Cedillo and Mitch Englander. We'll get item number 4 underway, which is the director's report. So we could get that started.
Michael LeGrand, Director of Planning. A couple of quick things to report. We had an excellent training session today for all of our supervisory level planners, which are classified as city planners. We conducted an all-hands mandatory training working through various issues they'll experience, family leave, supervisory skills, as well as things like timesheets and simple rudimental management issues that they face every day. It was very well attended and successful. I'd like to thank Eva Juan McDaniel, our Deputy Director of Administration, for conducting that. A little bit of news, Eva's last day in the department will be Friday, so she'll be actually leaving the City Planning Department and retiring, so we're really happy to see her off. As sad as we are to miss her, it's a great time for her and her family to actually be able to utilize her retirement at such a young age. Another thing I'd like to bring to your attention is our Mobility Plan 2035 is well underway. We'll be having a number of outreach sessions with various community members. To get more information on that, if I could direct people to our webpage at la2b.org, so LA, the number 2, b.org, and they can follow this and participate in our citywide effort to update what used to be called our transportation element of the general plan. We've now recoined that name to be the mobility plan. And again, it's in full swing, and we'd really like to get people's participation so we can bring forward a robust plan to the City Council next year. And that concludes my report, and I'll be available for any questions.
Great, thank you. I just want to thank the Planning Department for a successful community plan update in the downtown community last night, and I believe there's another one tonight. It's good to see that we are updating our community plans. We've got more to do, and some of them are way outdated, but it's good to see that some of them are getting done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we'll go to item number 2.
Yes, Councilman, item 2 is...
Actually, if you could read it into the record, and we're going to do that on consent, but you should read it into the record.
Sure, Councilman, it's a City Planning Commission ordinance for a zone change to construct a 7-story apartment building with 200 dwelling units in CD10.
Okay, so without objection, we'll move this item forward. So ordered. Item number 3.
Item 3, Councilman, is an appeal by Mike Hakim from Colony Holdings, various land use entitlements for a 35-story mixed-use building in CD10.
Okay, and we've been asked to request a 30-day continuance on this without objection. So moved by Mr. Cedillo, seconded by Mr. Englander. So ordered.
30 days.
30 days.
Is there a date certain?
The request is for planned for March 4th, 2014. That's roughly 30 days.
Okay.
So March 4th.
March 4th. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Next item.
Next item, Councilman, is the last item, which is a City Planning Commission proposed ordinance. It's the Little Tokyo Community Design Overlay Supplemental Use District in CD14.
Okay, thank you. Is there a report back from planning on this?
Yeah. Good afternoon, council members. Brian Eck with City Planning Department. So before you is a proposed ordinance to establish the Little Tokyo Community Design Overlay. This item did come before this committee on December 17th, at which time the Planning Department was instructed to revise and expand the boundaries of the CDO in response to testimony taken at that meeting. So we are back here today because those boundaries were expanded to include parcels which were not previously notified under our previous hearing. So an official hearing notice was mailed to all the owners and occupants within 500 feet of those parcels that were added by this committee, and this meeting represents the limited public hearing on the revised and expanded boundaries. So just an overview of the CDO itself. It creates design guidelines for all new construction and major remodels that will help ensure Little Tokyo continues to develop with high quality projects that are consistent with the vision of the community. The guidelines relate to several areas, including building details, site planning, landscaping, signage, lighting, and appurtenances. And after many years of work with the community, the City Planning Commission approved the Little Tokyo CDO in August. Under the CDO, new development will continue to receive a review that is consistent with the vision of the community and also ensure that future development is compatible with the existing context, helps preserve the unique character of the community, and ensures that the neighborhood continues to develop as a pedestrian-friendly district. So staff is available for questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I don't believe there's any questions right now, and we'll move over to the speakers' cards. Speakers have 1 minute. Itsuki Charles Igawa, and after is Reverend William Briones. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm here on behalf of an organization called the Hiroshima Kenjinkai of Southern California. We have been around since, we had a 100th anniversary 3 years ago. And we are a 501c2 organization, which state of California recognized us as a nonprofit organization in 1960. And we were formerly located at the corner of Ueda Street and 2nd Street. With the redevelopment coming to the Little Tokyo area, we were forced to relocate. And we are at 712 East 1st Street. We are unfortunately outside of the city's proposed planning CDO change. We are requesting that we will be included, which we testified earlier last year. We were unaware of this December 19th meeting that we just spoke of, so we were not able to do that. And we have long-standing relationship with the Little Tokyo. Our ties with the Little Tokyo is inseparable, we feel, culturally, emotionally, psychologically. Not to be included means that we will be sort of set adrift, and we are very unhappy about it.
Okay.
And we would like
Thank
to
you.
ask city to reconsider.
Great, thank you. Reverend William Briones, and afterwards is Bill Watanabe.
Good afternoon. I'm Reverend William Briones, the head minister of Nishi-Honganji Buddhist Temple. Next year, the Los Angeles Hompo Honganji Buddhist Temple will be celebrating its 110th anniversary. Our humble beginnings began on Jackson Street, and since then, our temple has been an integral part of Little Tokyo. As with many of the other Buddhist temples in Little Tokyo, historically we have been the center of spiritual support and cultural identity, a community bound by religious tradition and shared heritage. In Buddhism, we teach the 3 jewels of Buddhism, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Originally, the Sangha referred only to the monastics, the monks, and the nuns, but today it has been taken a larger meaning and refers not only to the priests, but also to the lay members and the community that supports us. The Little Tokyo community has continued and will continue to support our temple, and in turn, we will support Little Tokyo. This is our 45th year that we have been in the present site at First and Vignes. While arbitrary boundaries may divide us, we will always be part of the community shared with a shared vision, spiritually and tradition. On behalf of the Los Angeles Hompo Honganji Buddhist Temple, our members, past, present, and future, I would like to ask to be included within the boundaries of Little Tokyo.
Bill Watanabe, after Mr. Watanabe, Eric Kurimura.
Thank you. I'm here with the Little Tokyo Historical Society. I feel that the process up to this point by the planning department has been broad-based and inclusive. I just want to point out that Little Tokyo, we're celebrating our 130th anniversary this year. Nishi-Honganji, the Buddhist temple, has been around since the 1920s, and it belongs to be in Little Tokyo. I feel that setting a boundary at Alameda is very arbitrary. Just to say Little Tokyo has to stop here, even though historically it's gone beyond that. It has no base and it should be ignored. And it would only make sense if the artists were all Buddhists or something and they really had to have that temple there, but it doesn't make sense. And so we'd like to ask that the boundaries kept as they are. They've been revised. I think it's gone through a great process, and so we ask for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Kurimura, and after that, Kristen Fukushima.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Kramer. I'm also with Los Angeles Hompa Honganji Buddhist Temple. I'm a board member there, not a paid staff. We are in favor of the revised boundaries. I originally wrote on the speaker card that I was opposed. I was opposed to the original boundaries that were in the agenda. But we are in favor of the revised boundaries. Reverend Briones mentioned that we have a 110-year history. We've also had our original home on First Street and Central, and we moved because the city had threatened to expand the Civic Center and widen First Street. They did not do that. In the last 15 years, we had the mangrove property that also was going to become a civic center, and the Buddhist temple as well as the Little Tokyo community fought to make sure that this was going to be a mixed-use property that was going to enhance the entire community, not just Little Tokyo, also make this project a transit hub that would help everyone in the surrounding area. So again, I'm in favor of these new boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Fukushima, Craig Ishii.
Hello, my name is Kristen Fukushima. I am here representing the Little Tokyo Community Council as well as Kizuna, which is a community-based youth-focused organization, and Little Tokyo Roots, which is a young adult organization in Little Tokyo. So I'm also in support of the boundaries as proposed by this. I think it's important that we include these other parcels because they have always been associated with Little Tokyo and they are important for our future and for myself as a younger person. As we look to the future and preservation, I think it's important that we are able to maintain as much of our original character and integrity of the community. And so, yes, I really support this, and I thank the city planning staff for all their work on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig Ishii, Jason Yamaguchi.
Good afternoon. My name is Craig Ishii. I'm the chair of the Little Tokyo Community Council. We're a coalition of over 80 nonprofits, residents, stakeholders of Little Tokyo. We're in favor of the current boundaries. I don't think we had a chance to say thank you to those folks who really helped us out. Brian, Connie, Nicholas from CBC, CD14. We also really enjoyed working with folks from Skid Row, Stella Lopez as well. And we're in favor of the new boundaries. We even have a plan for what's going to happen with the new area. We're kind of visioning that out. And so we are really looking forward to the future of Little Tokyo. Thank you.
Jason Yamaguchi, Chris Aihara.
Jason Yamaguchi. I was here last meeting too, and as I said before, I would like to have a Nishihonganji, not only Nishihonganji, but south side of the First Street, alongside on the First Street, many Japanese businesses, and as Mr. Igawa said, Hiroshima Kenjinkai buildings. So I would ask you to again to include that area to be a part of Little Tokyo. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Aihara and Colin Tateshi.
Good afternoon. Chris Saihara with the Little Tokyo Community Council. I'd like to just reiterate what my colleagues from Little Tokyo have stated. We are in favor of the expanded boundaries as proposed. It's been a very long and important process for us in Little Tokyo, and we are very much concerned with the future vitality of the community and feel that the CDO will help us in that effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Colin Tateshi.
Good afternoon. My name is Colin Tatishi. I work at the Little Tokyo Service Center and am speaking today on behalf of myself in support of the item and ordinance as is. I would like to first thank the Department of City Planning staff and planning staff from your office to Councilman for all your hard work throughout this project, and we look forward to collaborating with all of you in the upcoming efforts. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And that closes public comment. And colleagues, this item was before us in December, and it is an item that I think will continue to preserve the uniqueness of the Little Tokyo community. With the expiration of the Little Tokyo redevelopment project area, we needed to put something in place that will continue to preserve this cultural jewel that we have in the city of Los Angeles. It is one of only 3 original Japantowns in California, and as the city evolves, as downtown evolves, I think this overlay area will allow us to continue to preserve that history. In December, I motioned to make changes regarding the boundaries of the proposed CDO, particularly to remove some properties along the overlay's southern border and to add 2 parcels on the north side of First Street. And I think that helped in terms of balancing some folks who were on the south side of the boundaries, and also to include, I think, what I think is a unique area, which is a mangrove site and the temple. I recall as a kid, I know some of you know my story about working for Ralph Shumpo. I also worked for the Kashu Banichi, which was right across the street from the temple there. And so you look at the history of Little Tokyo, and not to mention, and Mr. Cedillo would appreciate this if you keep going over the First Street Bridge, the connection we've had with Boyle Heights for many years. There's a natural connection that's always happened there. So it was important, I think, to keep those 2 parcels in the overlay zone. I'm very happy that we've gotten here, and I want to thank the planning staff for working diligently and quickly to get this to this point. I know you are straddled with a number of other priorities, and I appreciate you working on this to get us to where we are. So unless there's any other questions or comments, I'd like to make a motion. Mr. Cedillo?
Well, I also, like you, grew up in Boyle Heights and share the great appreciation for the Japanese American community in Little Tokyo and in Boyle Heights. I knew that you, a couple of times when you threw the newspaper to my neighbor, you were a little errant, and it ended up on my my side of the lawn. And because of borders and boundaries, I spend no less than 1 or 2 nights a week in Little Tokyo right now, and I think it's very critical to have that historical perspective and that respect for the integrity of the community, and only through understanding and knowing its history can we do that. And so I applaud your efforts and the efforts of the planning department to draw a district that's true to the history of the community.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. And I want to thank the public comment people who came out to speak and your stewardship throughout this process in getting us to where we are. So with that, with no objection, I'd like to move that Plum recommend adoption of the Little Tokyo CDO, along with the reports, ordinance, and environmental clearance for the project, and that we send the item to the city attorney for final review for form and legality. And I believe once that is complete, it would then go to full city council, correct? Okay. And do we have a date on that?
One thing, I just want to make sure that we're adopting the new boundaries that we did propose today.
Yes, we're adopting
part
the
of
new
the hearing
boundaries.
notice and adopting the new ordinance that includes those boundaries and the revised administrative procedures.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what's before us today, yes. Thank you. And so we would have to work with the city attorney's office to see when that could come to city council for final approval, correct? Yeah, okay. Thank you. So with that, no objections, so ordered. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. And now we can move on to general public comment. We have one public speaker, Leah Renee. Leah Renee here? Up here, yes.
Hi.
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 You have 1 minute to speak, ma'am.
Okay,
And these are for items not on the agenda today, yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So, okay, I'm a minute. I'd like to bring to your attention that there's a problem with the Department of Building and Safety. It's a year and a half. I brought safety issues, financial issues to your attention on multiple occasions on an almost daily basis. The California Coastal Commission has ruled that they're in violation of state law. You have city law, municipal code, and a bunch of other laws. Why this is so important is they will not let me be heard. They're asking me to go before the Board of Building and Safety Commissioners for a modification of building ordinances. I am not asking for a modification of building ordinances. I've brought to your attention they're in violations of dozens and dozens of municipal codes, administrative codes, and I need help. and I need to know where I file the correct government documents in order to be heard. Where do I go?
What area of the city is this in?
It's Mike Monen's office, and Norman Cullo's aware of it. The city attorney is aware of it. The district attorney is aware of it.
Councilmember Bonnet's
Yes.
Mike Bonnet.
Yes, he told me last week that he would get back to me. It's, I don't know if you know this, but Judge Perry ruled that there's a problem with the Department of Building Safety, and I brought it to their attention, and no one's getting back to me.
Okay.
I'm a year and a half.
Okay, great.
I wouldn't. So.
Well, thank you. And public comment is set up for a time for us to listen. It's not
Sure.
set up for a dialogue. But
Where do I go?
You should work with your local council member, Councilmember Bonnet. Okay.
They've abdicated the responsibility. Where do I go?
Okay.
Where do I go to file?
They could advise you if there's an appeal process. They can advise you.
There is no. They're telling me to fill out a modification of building ordinances.
Okay.
I mean,
I would ask that you work with the Building and Safety Department and also with Councilmember Bonnet's office and ask for a meeting collectively between both of them, and it should be
they're
resolved.
refusing me.
Yeah.
Year and a half. Okay.
Unless there's a formal appeal
is it.
process.
There is. This is it.
Okay, well,
Modification
you
of building
should follow
ordinance.
the formal appeal process, ma'am.
All right.
Okay.
So that.
Your
okay.
options are if there's a formal appeal process, you should pursue that. If there
I'm-
is not one, work with your local council member. That's
I'm
how
letting
we
you-
are structured to
I understand, and
resolve issues.
I'm letting you know it's the appeal process is for me to request a modification of building ordinances. I do not want a modification. I want them to enforce the ones that are on the books.
Okay, the planning director, Mike, will
Right.
work with you after this meeting to
Perfect.
see
That's
to
great. Does
direct
anyone
you
else
the
need
correct
another
place.
book?
He's right
Okay.
here. Yes, Mr.
Mike?
LeGrand. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the
This
time.
adjourns our meeting. Thank you.